Now that we know how to solve 2 by 2 determinants, let's apply that and use Cramer's rule. So we have Cramer's rule for 2 equations containing 2 variables. So take a moment to pause this or listen to the explanation, then pause, then write. But you need to pause the video to make sure you write this down. If you're given some 2 variable, 2 equations, we have ax plus by equals s and cx plus dy equals t. So x and y stay variables, but a, b, c, d, s, t are all numbers. To be able to solve this systems of equation using Cramer's rule, we will use these 2 formulas to find x and y. X equals d sub x over d, and y equals d sub y over d. So what does d sub x, d sub y, and d equal? And here's what those equal. So D equals the determinant, A, B, C, D. So when I come over here and I look at that, that is A, B, C, D. That is this portion of my equation here. Okay, so what are the variables for your X? Go over here. And what are your variables for your Y? Go right here. So then D sub X, it still has BD, but now it replaces that X column with what equals over here. So for D sub X, we take the X column and we replace it with whatever values our equation equal. And then same thing for D sub Y. When it is D sub Y, now my X column stays the same, but my Y column here now gets replaced with what is on the equals. Okay, so let's apply this. And if you haven't already, take a moment to pause this so you can copy it down. So here in example 3, we're going to use this formula here. So before I even jump into the X and the Y, I need to figure out what is my D, what is my D sub X, and what is my D sub Y. Okay, well, my D is what is in my X column and what's in my Y column. So this is the same as 1X. So I have 1, 2 in my X column, and then my Y is 3, 3. So I can go ahead and solve this. And we know that we're going to cross, it's the cross product of A times D, which is 3, minus the cross product of B times C, which is 6. 3 minus 6 gives me -3. So my D equals -3. So now we need D sub X. For D sub X, because this is X, I'm going to take my X column and replace it with what these equations equal. So this becomes 5, -8, and my Y column does not change. So this is 3, 3. So I'm going to find my determinant of D sub X, and it is again AD, which is 15, minus the product of BC, which is -24. So 15 minus a -24 is the same as 15 plus 24, and that's going to give me 39. Okay, so now my D sub Y. Because this is sub Y, I'm going to replace my Y column with what these equations equal. So this becomes 5, -8. And now my X column remains from the original, which is 1, 2. So A times D gives me -8 minus the product of B times C, which is 10. And so this is going to give me -18. Now I can solve for X and for Y. So X equals D sub X over D. Well, my D sub X is 39. And my D is -3. So this is -13. And then Y equals D sub Y over D. My D sub Y is -18. And my D is still -3, which gives me 6. When you are solving a system of equation, you're always going to write this in an ordered pair. So it's always X comma Y. So my final answer is -13, 6. This is the only example I have of using Cramer's rule with a 2x2 determinant. So if you did not understand that, rewind this video and rewatch it.